Oh, that's so...
Oat flat white.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is good coffee.
We're experiencing record high levels of inflation, with the cost of seemingly everything going up, soaring energy bills, and stagnating wages hitting our wallets hard. We know the strain that everyone's feeling.
We're in truly unique circumstances this winter, causing many of us living in the UK, even those in full-time employment, to worry about fuel and food poverty. If you're in this position, do not blame yourself. You're not alone in this. We're all feeling the financial pressure coming into winter. In light of this, we advise taking some personal control and financial precautions over the coming months. We've teamed up with network provider giffgaff to bring you some top tips to help you navigate through this cost of living crisis.
The first tip is arguably the most important: building a budget. Starting from scratch, we need to know what's going in and out of our accounts and track our spending before we start making any cuts. We can't afford to be guessing and estimating. We need to understand exactly how much money we have and exactly how much we need to meet and cover our needs. A lot of people hate the idea of having a budget because they think that it means tracking every single one of your purchases on a spreadsheet and not being allowed to spend money on the fun parts of life. This isn't the case at all. Instead, you should think of a budget as a tool to help you become your own financial planner. Everyone has different experiences and relationships with money, so you need to tailor your budget to suit your income, your spending, your habits, and your personality. A spreadsheet can be a great way to do this, or if you're on the go, even the Notes app on a smartphone. Regardless of the method you pick, you should generally follow the same steps and consider them in this order. Step 1, calculate your total income, your salary and any other money you receive throughout the month. Step 2, think about how much you spend. Split this between necessities and optional spends. These two numbers should not exceed your total income. Once you're more aware of where your money's going, it's far easier to identify where you can cut back, depending on what your plans are month by month. Step 3, if your budget allows, also think about if you can save. If you have money left over, always try to pay off any debts first and then save the rest. If you can't afford to save at the moment, try not to worry. And step 4, finally, stay on track by looking at how your budget is doing monthly. This is probably the most important step to make sure your finances stay in a good place. If your budgeting is going well, maybe you can look to save a little more next month or treat yourself to something that you've had your eye on. And vice versa, if things aren't looking great, it'll be easier to find out why. For example, did you set an unrealistic goal for a certain category like bills, food shopping or commuting, or are you trying to save too much? Remember that your budget is there to relieve your financial stress and concerns, not cause them.
So the next thing, once you've got a budgeting habit, is to prioritize your subscriptions. Anyone that has been following us for a while will know how much we hate the outdated, misguided concept of cutting out all of your expenses and personal luxuries in order to achieve disproportionate financial goals.
The old Netflix and coffee fallacy.
Yeah. We really hope that you're able to manage this period without having to entirely forfeit your lifestyle. However, with the increase in costs, for many people, it would be sensible to look at their list of subscriptions and see exactly how much they're actually being used. Lots of subscription service providers are looking to increase their fees and pass on their increased costs to consumers. You should see whether it's worthwhile and consider pausing the subscriptions that you use the least if you have more pressing costs to meet, keeping your budget in mind. A quick word from our sponsors.
Network provider giffgaff is freezing UK prices until the end of 2023 for all new and existing customers to give people certainty and one less thing to worry about next year. This marks the second year running that giffgaff has committed to freezing its UK tariff prices for members following its 2022 UK price fix in April this year. giffgaff members can also access a selection of debt advice websites for free through the network, helping people to get the support they need from charities and debt advice experts without worrying about it using up any of their data. Tip 3 is to be mindful of energy consumption this winter. We've all heard about the energy price cap and it's been causing a lot of confusion, so let's bust some myths around it. The government recently introduced an energy price cap to combat rocketing energy prices. Before the cap, average annual bills had been expected to reach £3,549 a year, but the cap has been set at £2,500. This is still a lot higher than the £1,277 October price cap last year. It's been a bit confusing, but the £2,500 figure does not mean that the maximum you'll pay from October 2022.
It's really important to understand this one because even the Prime Minister was confused about this.
That's right. The price cap is a limit on the price that energy companies can charge per unit for gas and electricity, not the total amount that households can be charged. The £2,500 figure refers to what the average household will pay, so your bill could be higher or lower depending on your home, how many people you live with, and your usage. With this in mind, it's important to be mindful of energy usage to keep costs down. Turning off lights when you're not in the room and waiting for a full load before doing the washing are two easy ways to cut down your energy usage.
So tip number 4 is to check if you're eligible for household support or benefits. Lots of people don't realise that they're eligible for financial support from the government or from their local council. Some people put off claiming this type of support because of fears of embarrassment or shame, or because they've never even considered being able to get financial support. There is absolutely no reason to feel embarrassed or ashamed about claiming support. We're living in never-before-seen circumstances.
Preach.
The government has granted a pool of £1 billion to support those on low incomes who are struggling with the cost of living. Eligibility for this grant differs between councils, so if you want to check if you're eligible, you need to look at your local council's website before this funding runs out. According to government figures, up to 7.5 million households are also missing out on 15 billion every year of means-tested benefits, so it's definitely worth checking if you're eligible for these too. Charities like Turn to Us have free-to-use benefits calculators that show you what benefits you're entitled to. It's also worth talking to your utility providers to see if there's anything they can do to help you. Some energy providers have schemes available to help those struggling to pay.
Tip number 5 is to build an emergency fund. An emergency fund is your safety net against unexpected outgoings or a loss of earnings. According to Statista research, unforeseen circumstances like redundancy or a reduction in income are the biggest causes of debt in the UK. During periods of uncertainty, building up as much of a buffer as you can within this safety net can really help you to manage financial anxiety and worries. If you're fortunate enough to be in a position to start creating an emergency fund, begin by working out how much you have to save in your emergency fund. To calculate how much to aim to have in your emergency fund, start by thinking about how much you need in a month to get by. This should be your outgoings that you have to pay each month, so things like rent, utilities and groceries. Once you know this figure, aim to build up a pot of 3 times this amount. Once you know your figures, you can start to build up your fund as much as possible. It can take time, but be patient. We recommend aiming for a minimum of 3 months worth of outgoings. Your emergency fund should be accessible, ideally in an easy to access account that's separate from your main account to keep the funds apart. Don't invest your emergency fund in stocks, shares, or even property, as you'll need to be able to access it on short notice if you ever need it.
Tip number 6, you need to make sure that you're looking out for financial scams. With the cost of living on the rise, so are the number of fraudsters and scammers looking to take advantage of people's circumstances. Scams can take many forms, from calls to WhatsApp messages and Instagram DMs. Be wary of anyone offering you a magical get-rich-quick solution or any messages requesting money. Even if it looks like someone you know, always give them a quick call to double-check. You should also be cautious of someone getting in touch claiming to be from your bank, mobile provider, or delivery service. These scams can come in as calls or look like texts or emails asking you to click on a link. Never ever pass on any confidential information over the phone or by social media.
Finally, dealing with financial stress. Money impacts our mental health. According to the Money and Mental Health Policy Institute, financial stress is one of the most common causes of poor mental health in the UK, affecting over 1.5 million of us. There are a number of charities, like Turn to Us, which can offer free advice and tools if you're struggling with debt or money concerns. Turn to Us is a national charity which has lots of useful tools, like benefits calculators and grant search engines, practical advice, and a number of their own grants that you can apply for. Step Change is another charity with a team of debt experts who can give you free advice tailored to your personal circumstances and will support you for as long as you need them. And if you're a giffgaff member, you can access a whole selection of debt advice services for free without eating into your data allowance.
To reiterate, these are very tricky financial times we currently find ourselves in. Don't blame yourself if you're taking all of the right precautions and still finding it difficult to manage your financial commitments. You are not alone.
No, far from it.
We hope our guidance will help you manage your money so things become easier for you over the next few months. But we'll always be here to offer some guidance on any of your money questions. Just leave us a comment or get in touch with us at Millennial Money UK. And thank you for watching.